So we're going to do a series of short screencasts in succession to focus on some of the details from our class discussion today about the temple as a focus of ancient Egyptian life. One of the things we focused on was the idea that the temple was built of significant stonework, which indicated that, which was because of the close connection to the supply of stone. Much of ancient Egypt's still around because of the significant supply of stone. Some of the other things we just made note of is the idea of the sacred lake, and the idea that water is sacred because of the Nile being the giver of all life in Egypt, and that water is a very sacred thing, and that priests would bathe in order to clean themselves, to be pure before the gods. We also talked about how priests themselves were very high on the social ladder, very high with social status, because of their ability to sort of perform those rituals that were going to keep the gods pleased. Remember, we said that the gods were gods that you would fear and that you would have to keep pleased in order that the Nile would continue to flow, and also so that you could get into the afterlife. We also discussed how the temple is an example of urban setting, because it's an establishment of sort of a town. This is the way they're settled. This is the way they live. These are the physical structures and the architecture of town. It's also somewhat related to the G of Sugar W, government, because many government functions would be occurring here. And the religious figures, the priests, had a kind of a government authority because they held so much authority and power over the required religious rituals of the Egyptian people. It was also an urban center because of the markets that would be there, which is, economics, commerce, trade. We also looked at a lot of the hieroglyphics and the symbols and the symbology indicating what's important in their religion. We also looked at the fact that schools were often run in the temple. The sanctuary was very private. And again, this is where the priest would be. This indicated the higher social status of the priests. Grain silos were kept here because this is what a very sacred and protected place, the temple. This is a place of learning that scribes would know how to write. They were the people who knew how to write, and the reason they knew how to write is because they would need to keep track of and take care of all the religious teachings and learnings. The priests had, here's the school, sorry, and here's the school. Practicing for festivals. In so many ways, in all the aspects of Sugar W, the temple was really the focus of ancient Egyptian life, ancient Egyptian civic life.